How we doing, YouTube? Today I'm going to be talking about spanking or whipping, beating, um, physically attacking your children, um, or just people in general. I'm going to say that is not a good idea, especially if you love that person. One thing you can just think about: bullies, they hit people. They hit people because they assume that the person they're hitting is weaker than them. They don't have backup. They don't have anyone that'll stand up in their corner, or they won't stand up for themselves. But as like the movies always show, the the bully always ends up getting bested, you know, um, by the person they were bullying, and that is in real life as well. I like to think of when people are advocates for spankings and beatings. I like to think of, well, that's what the slave master did. He beat the slaves to keep them in check, to remind them that they are less than, to psychologically manipulate their self worth, and that is what you're doing when you beat a child or beat up anyone for that matter. You're trying to instill dominance. You don't learn anything. There's no learning with that. Like a man told me in school. I think I was going to get an altercation with someone, and he told me you can't beat the silly out of somebody, and that resonated with me because no matter how many times you hit someone or hit something, they are still going to be who they are at the end of the day. And the only reason you're hitting them is because they're not doing what you want them to do, or you're angry at them. So, I don't think whipping is a good thing. I believe if you whip your child, you're going to make them soft, right? You're teaching them to take abuse from someone that they care about and do nothing about it. But the thing is, a lot of these kids grow up and they remember the mistreatment, the bullying that was installed on them. And it has to go somewhere because energy never dies. Think about that. When you hit someone, you're putting your energy into them, which makes them mad, makes them want to put energy back into you, hit you back. But if you're beating a child, they can't hit you back. They're not going to hit you back. They're just building up anger over years, over the time, every time you hit them and disrespect them. They're building up this stuff inside. And as you get old, as a parent gets older, this parent is going to need that child. They're going to need that child in the same way that child needed that parent in most cases. Um, and that child's going to remember those things. Remember exactly how you treated them when they didn't know better, or because you were angry, because the people at work pissed you off. You couldn't do nothing to them, so you came home and did something to the closest person that you could get away with it with. You know what I'm saying? And that they call it corporal punishment, and that opens up a can of worms that most people don't want to deal with. People for people so for some reason they forget that child has to grow up one day, and you have to get old one day. You might be in diapers just like that child was in diapers, and you need someone to help you. But instead of having a healthy relationship, you've decided to physically attack someone every time they didn't do something you did. They did every time they did something you didn't want them to do. And again, to close this out, what you're doing when you beat your child is you're making them soft. You're getting them used to abuse. You're getting them used to being abused by people. A lot of these people who are abused, they get into abusive relationships, or they get ran over by the person they love because this is something they learned at the house. You're not taking in consideration. When pride is involved here. A lot of people have kids simply because they want to be over something, have ownership of something, and that is not how stuff works. These people, your children, are going to be the people that you need to depend on someday. And you need to make sure that they love you after it's all said and done. So there's something to think about.